time for an edition of Simply Stated Ghost Stories, and this is probably one of the worst ones of all of them here in November, in the cold, cold months in northern Michigan. And I just wanted to talk with you briefly about a man that you know. Well, you have to know by three different names in the U.S., and he clearly works for the FSB of Russia, also the Chinese CCP. Unfortunately, because of failures of the FBI, or actually intentional failures of the organization, deliberately planning terrorist attacks, which they keep going through hearings for, and apparently have lost their headquarters over. Um, we nicknamed him the Butthole Portal Rapist back in DC when I lived there for 19 years doing investigations. His actual names, the aliases he's gone by in the U.S., I'm going to release them because I'm tired of this, are Mr. Ray, Dale Elementary School. He was a teacher there. He was also Craig Burgum, and I'm not sure anyone wants to hear this because some of you may know Craig Burgum in Janesville, Wisconsin, but he was supposedly a disabilities teacher at Parker High School. He ended up getting fired eventually, but I think he still works as a teacher around there some of the time. He also has been living in Michigan under the name Scott Stazak. He was known to the Young Republicans as a Republican GOP contender in the state of Michigan. He's actually running for office here. Here's the thing, and this is not to support Republicans or Democrats. His mother was actually a Clinton appointee and has worked for the State Department and the CIA in the past, and also was an Obama appointee for the State Department. She eventually got fired, but she was of no help to me or anyone else in that area, and frankly set up a number of women. I'm talking about Arlington County, Washington, D.C., 2010s, set her side up to commit a number of serial rapes and murders. Probably one of the most prolific anal puncture rapists that I've ever known of, and literally lives on Signet systems from Russia. His mom told us horrifyingly at a group meeting back in Janesville, Wisconsin about his behavior in the 90s that he saw himself as the Mario Brothers character, getting bigger and getting smaller. Now, here's the thing. It isn't just that he's attacked me last year, but that he changes aliases and names and people forget who he is. Worse, Booz Allen Hamilton is putting a supreme amount of money into having him receive women or men to rape or even murder. They tried to send me back to him this past year to be killed, and I got out of it, but I had to go to DHS here in Michigan. So you can thank the state of Michigan for that. You can also thank the state of Michigan for Freddie Klein being in prison. I have no idea where this is going, but I'll tell you this. I'm going to spin this around for you really quickly. I don't care who got elected president, and I don't really care much about politics these days. My issue is always civil rights, and Scott very clearly worked for Endeavor WME and Booz Allen Hamilton in attacking people to have them labor trafficked. He's also the director that you know is David Lynch, and unfortunately has relied on the Peace USA, and unfortunately I think even the PCA, supposed churches of the US, to commit his attacks. Frankly, I had gone to the PCA thinking that they would help me years ago, and saw that due to their relationship with Endeavor and YG Entertainment, that they had no problem having me sent back to him and possibly be killed. I was in a women's group that I'm 100% positive, everyone else I've ever talked to who's a lawyer that followed them, investigated them, said, absolutely 100% positive this woman leading the group from the Heritage Foundation was trying to send you back to this guy to be murdered. So before you think the Russian issues or the Chinese CCP and their weird conflagration between each other is about politics, try to remember that these are Russian assets. His behaviors are very psychotic. I know of at least one victim that he raped up here in Traverse City over the past summer. And he's been in the area. It's really scary. And he doesn't belong free around here. And frankly, if you were found to be cooperating with him and committing these attacks, there's no help for you. Because the one thing I accomplished when I was in the DC area was that I finally found some really top talented investigators who knew how Signet systems worked well enough to understand what he was doing and how he was changing himself and using them. And they do have him. So wherever you are today, Scott, you're not getting away. Because there are actually people, and they may not really be in the US government's military, but there are people who actually are aware of what you're doing, and they are going to catch you. And this is someone who actually either needs to be in prison, deported, or, frankly, once you start racking up multiple violent felonies for rape and murder, like 20, 30, 40 violent rapes and murders, the chances of you surviving at all are just non-existent. And that's probably why the scariest ghost stories over telling show, and definitely not appropriate for kids. Have a good one.